the book then, it's reclaims sobriety, 12 runs, and the 12 runs obviously because of the boxing connection. So what
Yes.
exactly, you might let people know what exactly you're covering.
Yeah. So, it's really struggling because I did not intend to write this book. This is not the book that I went out to start writing 5 years ago. When I started writing the book, it's when uh, I was telling a story about the gym and that kind of thing. And then I sent it to the editor and he kicked it back. He's like, this isn't good. I'd said it, this kept happening. He's like, you got to choose. Like, is it boxing? Is it Drake? What is this about? I'm like, it's an introduction to me for anybody that wants to know who I am. He's like, it's got to be one or the other. So when I got these kids and I started training them, it one, I did not want to train these kids. I kept kicking. I'm like, I don't know, train kids. I don't even know anything. I don't know the first thing about training a kid how to box. I'm not that good of a boxer. I can train people on fitness, right? But I'm not that great of a boxer. To be teaching you how to do it was my mindset at the time. But the gym wasn't doing great, right? Some of the same problems that the previous owner had. Men of my age don't typically box, right? They get hit a couple times, they get a black eye, they have to go to work and explain it, and their wife says, hey, I don't want to pay for another urgent care for a broken nose. So, but I've got these kids banging on my door every day saying, teach me how to box. So one day I was like, screw it, show up Saturday, we'll figure this out. And then like 8 kids show up, and then 10 more show up, and this keeps happening. So I've got to figure something out, right, for these kids. And I reflected on when I was a kid, the local business owners that I would kind of pester, and they would help me out, and they taught me a lot as a young man. So I'm very grateful now that I get to be that role for other people. So I'm like, well, I got to figure this out. So I start taking every coaching class that I could think of. I get my USA boxing certificate. I go to high flow coaching. I get some neuro-linguistic programming coaching in. I get my breath coaching certificate. And I'm going through all of these things, and I'm learning about mindset. I'm learning about subconscious and changing that, and manifestation, and all of these other, crazy concepts in a lot of ways. But when you really start getting into it, you understand what, the science behind them, things really start to change. And I'm like, well, these kids that are coming in and they have fear and they don't want to be embarrassed and all these things, I've got to figure out how to get their mindset ready, because they say they want to compete, right? They want to get to the ring. And I've always valued opportunity as very high, right? So if I can give somebody the opportunity that they want, I think that's probably one of the best gifts that I could give somebody.